and welcome to the PowerToku Show DX. I'm Luis, otherwise known as SentaiSeiya, and with me today, as always, is...
Josh Reed. Hello, everyone.
So this is basically our very first numbered episode in the show. We thought that since ToQger and also Super Megaforce is starting, we're going to start our run also. So, as I let everybody know, I was going to be at Toy Fair, which happened, about 10 days ago. Right? Man, time flies. Anyways, so I was at Toy Fair, taking pictures, doing video, and after that I was writing all the stuff up for CollectionDX. So I was kind of busy, and Josh and I finally got some time to sit down, and we are now recording this show. So, I think we're going to jump in, right?
Yeah, let's dive head first.
I can't get away from Toy Fair, so let's talk about Toy Fair.
Oh, man. Toys.
Yeah, so if you missed the Toy Fair coverage on CollectionDX, we got a ton of stuff. Playmates, Mezco, you name it. It's pretty much all on there. So, for those who don't know, Toy Fair is basically only for press and for buyers looking to check out the new lines coming out on the market. So it's not open to the public. And we here at CollectionDX like to cover it every year, give you, the fans, an inside look at what happens at Toy Fair. And since this is a Toku show, we're only going to cover one of the lines, which is Power Rangers in the Bandai of America booth. Dun dun dun. Tamashii Nations does Toku stuff, but they didn't really do too much that is worth talking about, unless you care about Naruto. No. Yeah. I cared about Naruto at one point.
Yeah, but then we went into the 7th grade.
I think I was actually way older than that, which means I'm pretty old, and I was watching Naruto.
Don't admit that.
Yeah. All right. But anyways, let's talk about Power Rangers. So outside of the booth, we had the Gokaija, also known as Super Megaforce, taking pictures with people. And they actually picked me to be Super Megaforce Silver, so you're going to see me on the show pretty soon. I wish. I was dressed accordingly, though.
Yeah. I mean, Look at that face. Aww. You're so adorable.
Yeah. You want to just take me home. And Josh B decided he was going to fight the Power Rangers. He had to be different. So that was very cool. A lot of people came over and took pictures with the Power Rangers. But besides people dressed up as Power Rangers, there were some cool toys being shown by Bandai.
Let's just go down the list.
Yeah.
Boom.
In the Legacy line, they showed off the Morpher and the Dragon Dagger, which somebody told me they're having issues getting.
That was me telling you that.
Yeah, that was you. So, from what I've been reading, Toys R Us took a lot of pre-orders for this. I think there's somewhere in over 1,000 pre-orders that have yet to be filled, and they've filled some of them, but not all. So
they haven't filled my pre-orders.
Yeah. So who knows if they've even ordered enough and have enough in stock to fill these. Not to put anybody into a panic. I mean, I'm hoping Bandai, did a good job with their production run and forecasted accordingly, but I've heard a lot of people say that they've not gotten these in their hands yet.
I haven't even gotten my Gold Legacy Morpher yet. And that released last month.
And that's still on pre-order on the site, which is weird. You would think they would have filled the orders first before taking more pre-orders on. Some people are saying that these things are out on store shelves. So who knows what is going on over there at Toys R Us. And so we had the Dragon Zord combining with the Megazord. But the big reveal for Toy Fair was, drumroll please, the Titanus. So this thing looked really good. It's got a lot of stickers that give it that detail. Looks pretty good until you hear the price of this. Yeah, $200. I don't know if this is $200 worth of plastic and stickers and a chain.
Apparently there's some die-cast in it, but I don't know where.
Yeah, you know what? The guy said that when he was doing the presentation, and he said it was really heavy and it was hard for him to hold. I don't know if he was just saying that to, make it seem like it's a very heavy piece, or it could be that a lot of it is made of metal. But it looks pretty plasticky to me. I mean, it doesn't look like it's got a lot of die cast, except for like the chain.
They have actually specifically said that it's not the 2010 Titanus, that it's like completely new, but it looks just like the 2010 Titanus.
Does it? Because I don't remember that one. But also, I mean, I guess they kind of consider the Legacy Megazord to be a different one from the one in 2010, but that was just, die cast added to it, so it was still pretty much the same mold, same figures. I mean, yeah, maybe they figure they can get away with charging $200 for this piece. I really don't think there's going to be many buyers at that price. At least I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna pick it up. That's a little too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
At that point, we're going into like multiple SOC territory.
Yeah, I mean, you get a Hot Toys release for that kind of price, and those things are hand painted, just sexy all around. This is just a mass produced. I mean, it's still cool looking, but like I said, it's not worth $200. So, I mean, that was the big reveal. The price was disappointing, but who knows? Maybe the fans are going to pick this up. And they also showed up the rest of the Zord build line for the Super Megaforce toys. The Bandai of America Furaimaru. Yeah. And of course the motorcycles. It's weird how kids like these things. I mean, they do combine with the Megazords and stuff, but it's not something they do in Japan a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The motorcycles, so...
I've always been a huge fan of motorcycles.
Do you pick these up, or...?
Not those specifically, because I don't really care for those. But as a kid, I definitely would.
Maybe we're just a big motor culture, and the kids here want to pick up the cars and the motorcycles and that kind of stuff.
Maybe.
Could be. Who knows? All right. And then we have the role-play toys. Obviously, they're different versions from the Japanese version, but still decent for the price point.
I'm not sure what they're going to be calling the Gokai Cellular, which is Gokai Silver or the Silver Rangers thing.
I think they're just calling it the Silver Rangers Morpher.
That would make a lot of sense.
Just keep it simple.
But it looks like, I mean, I've only seen it from, pretty far off, but it looks really good.
Yeah, I think that's what the guy doing the presentation said it was going to be called. Or just what he called it. So, yeah, looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Role-play toys. If you want to, run around your house dressed up as your favorite Power Ranger.
Yeah.
So, the Power Rangers line, the 5-inch figures for the original Power Rangers, they're kind of getting moved on into their own sub-line. It's still going to be the same figures, but they're going to get this new retro packaging, which looks pretty cool. I mean, it's very much like the Legacy figures, or the Legacy Morpher packaging. It's got that retro look to it. They're probably trying to appeal to all those people that grew up in the 90s and have that nostalgia for the Power Rangers.
And they're doing it. They're doing it super hard.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm probably going to buy all of them.
Ooh, new packaging. I have to buy these again. Yeah. And then they had the display of the Ranger keys. They said that there's going to be about 60 of these, over 60 of the Ranger keys. So they're not going to do every single character from the Power Rangers series. So that's kind of a bummer. But for parents that are going to have to buy these for kids, at least it's going to be a little bit of a relief in their pocket. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be as expensive as, with the Super Sentai line. They had every single Super Sentai character, the repaints, the exclusives, the ones you got if you went to go see the movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just crazy number of keys in the Super Sentai line.
But did you hear anything while you were at Toy Fair about whether or not they're going to bring special key packs to conventions and stuff?
I think I heard they're going to do some variants, so I'm guessing they might do some Comic-Con exclusives and that kind of a thing, but there's nothing, that they're going to do quite yet. Nothing they could reveal, obviously, so I wouldn't be surprised if, they did some clear ones and some other things here and there. It's pretty cheap to just do them in a different color.
Yeah, because one thing that I've seen a lot is people complaining that there aren't any pink or yellow Ranger keys being released. and you can clearly see on this little turntable that there are like plenty of pink and yellow Ranger keys. But who knows if they're being released?
Yeah, I mean, these could be like prop replicas from the show.
They very well could be.
Yeah. So it might not be every single key that's being released. It's just like, hey, check out the ones that we're going to feature in the show, but not necessarily in the toy line. So we'll see. I mean, I think if they sell well enough, and I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, Power Rangers is so popular, and especially since a lot of the little figures are really popular nowadays, like the Squinkies and all those little things. Those little collectible cheap toys are popular nowadays with the kids. I wouldn't see why this line wouldn't sell well enough where they would actually bring out the yellows and the pinks. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that.
Yeah.
And we get some more action figures, the Armored Rangers.
One thing that I would like to note is that the Silver Ranger looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks pretty normal with his armor. I mean, he's already going to have that in the show anyways. Yeah. Doesn't look like there's much detail, though. They're supposed to do the faces on the armor, or the masks of the other Rangers, but looks like it's all yellow.
I think that was just from the photo, because I think I may have seen some more close-up pictures of the thing, and I actually did see them.
Okay.
I don't know. You were actually there. Why don't you tell me?
Look at you. You're explaining to me, dude. Toy Fair is like one big blur right now. Just so much happening. And half the time I saw, Toy Fair through a little screen on either a camera or a camcorder. So, yeah. But, looks cool. I'm not a big fan of the armored, figure line, but to each their own. And then we have the jumbo, or not jumbo, they're like, I think 11 or 12-inch action figures with limited mobility. Yeah. All right. So since Super Megaforce is basically, a celebration of the 20 years of Power Rangers, they are going to release all these little figures, some of the old Power Rangers in the line. They're going to have the muscly build of the new toys. So they're going to have them in the 5-inch line and the 4-inch line. So it looks like it's all dudes. I mean, seems like the guys sell a lot better than the girls. And so besides this, there was stuff that wasn't shown at Toy Fair. But we did talk to a couple of the reps, and they let us know, the future of some of these lines. So in the Legacy line, they said that they are going to release more Megazords, which is good for us that are looking to get some of those old Zords we couldn't get when we were little kids. They said they're probably not going to go in order, though. They're probably going to skip around. I think it would kind of be hard to do the next one in order, though. The Daireno from Dai Ranger, that was a little bit more complicated. I think, for my money, they're going to go with the Ninja Megazord. That's a simpler toy, and I think it'd be easier to build. Because, the Daireno, or the Thunder Megazord, had the dragon that became the humanoid form, and it became the dragon, and then it had all the extra attachments. So there'd be a lot more engineering, and I think the price point would be higher on those. So they'll probably play it safe, and for my money, I think Ninja Megazord's going to be next.
Yep.
I mean, that was the height of Power Ranger, fandom back in the day, with the movie coming out and all that. So I think that's where they're going. They said they are going to do more import Megazords. So we did say that the Megazords weren't selling very well. The Shinkano was kind of just warming the shelves, but apparently they sold well enough that they're going to bring more out. Maybe they're going to do a more limited run, maybe charge a little bit more. That's just speculation on my part. But
yeah, it would make sense if they would bring, less over since Shinkanos were shelf warming so horribly.
Yeah. And Shinkano was very popular. The next one they are going to do, according to the rep we talked to, is going to be the Gosei Great. And I know that design's not as popular as the Shinkano, so it just wouldn't make sense for them to bring as many over. They did say the Jumbo Megazord that they were talking about, I think last year, is still in the works. Whether or not that means it's going to happen, that's a different story. I mean, that just could be code for it's kind of on the back burner kind of a thing. But it may never happen. I know that's one of the things Josh was looking forward to.
That's something that I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
I love Jumbos.
Yeah. So that's not happening, at least not anytime soon, since they didn't show a prototype or anything. But according to them, it's going to happen sometime.
Okay, so the first bit of non-Toy Fair news that we're going to talk about is some promo images and stuff of SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Chalice from Kamen Rider Blade.
Yeah. So this guy looks sexy. For those who don't know Kamen Rider Blade, each of the 4 main riders, their suit was based off one of the suits from a deck of cards. And this is the Hearts suit, and it looks cool. I mean, besides the visor, it doesn't really give you too much of that, heart look that you would have expected. It could have been like a girly design for all we could have cared, but it looks good. I mean, I didn't really have any gripe with any of the designs in this show. Liangle was my least of the favorite of all of them, but it looks sexy, just like any of those other SH Figuarts release. And this is coming out later in the year, summer, I think, right?
I think it may have said June. Yeah, June. Yeah.
And June is in the summer.
Yes, it is.
So, but that's not the only thing coming out in the summer from the SH Figuarts line. We also have a couple more Kamen Riders. Well, one Kamen Rider and a bike, I should say. We have the Sakura Hurricane from Kamen Rider Gaim. And this is the bike that Gaim uses to teleport himself into Helheim Forest. So how do you like this bike?
It sure does look like a bike.
It does. I'm not a big fan of the color scheme of this, though.
I like the color scheme. I'm just not sure about the actual physical design of it.
So between both of us, we hate the whole bike. But for those... Oh, I said, but for the... Oh, go ahead.
You can go ahead.
I said, but for those fans that actually like the design and the color scheme, they can pick this up. It's coming out in the summer also. No price, I think, yet.
Maybe... Yep, price is to be announced.
So it could be a web exclusive for all we know.
I don't think it'll be a web exclusive. The recent bikes that they've released for the main riders haven't been web exclusives.
Okay. So it probably won't be a web exclusive. But, looks cool, I guess, if you like the design. Not for us, though.
Yeah, I just kind of... I kind of miss having a bike that looked like the Kamen Rider.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed, too. It just doesn't go with the design of the other riders. With Gaim in this one. And then the other riders have their own bikes, and they just don't really go together very well.
You look at the Hardboilder, and you're just like, oh, well, that goes to Kamen Rider Double. You look at, the Machine Sigler, you're like, oh, that obviously goes with Kamen Rider Forze. Yeah. And then you look at this, and you're like, Kamen Rider Flowersy?
Kamen Rider Barbie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so... But that's not the only thing that was announced for Kamen Rider Gaim in the SH Figuarts line. We have Kamen Rider Zangetsu.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is just... I like the white design and the green. It's sexy. It's great. The SH Figuarts line does it justice. No word yet on the price on this. It's probably going to be a regular release, though, I would think. Since he is one of the main antagonists in the show.
I would hope so. I don't know. Maybe not this release. Maybe the Energy Zangetsu that they release would be. I don't know. Does it say if it's a web exclusive?
It's to be determined price, so it doesn't say anything about exclusivity. Yeah.
I hope it's not, because that's awesome.
Yeah. So these should be going for pre-order pretty soon, I would think. Yeah. All right, so pre-order that wherever you pre-order all your Kamen Rider stuff. And some more Kamen Rider news. We have Kamen Rider Faiz in the Figure Rise line, and I think this is the 6-inch one, if I'm not mistaken.
It certainly is.
It is. So these are actually model kits. They're not, figure arts like we're used to. You put them together. I think they're pre-painted. So if you like building Gundam models and you like Kamen Rider, this would probably be your thing. Personally, I like the Figure Arts line. This is too much work for my taste.
I love model kits, so this stuff is right up my alley.
Have you picked up any of the Figure Rise figures?
I actually ordered the Wild Tiger Figure Rise 6. I haven't put it together yet, but I will. The next time me and D-Kun have a Gunpla party, that's what I'm building.
I imagine these are put together very similarly to Gundams, being that they are a Bandai product.
Oh,
so Because I'm pretty sure if you put together a Gundam, you can put together a Figuarts figure with no issue. So this guy comes with a stand, a whole bunch of hands. He's got the effect part for his finishing attack. And then there's this picture with no explanation.
I'm pretty sure that's an explanation. It's just that it's all in Japanese.
Yeah, no explanation that we can understand. So I'm guessing this is going to be an add-on pack?
It's more than likely going to be a separate release because it's completely different colors and stuff. Because, I mean, we do have this picture.
Okay. Huh. So, a couple more releases in the Figuarts line. The figures look a little weird, though, to me. Is it just me?
I think it's just you, because I think that... Well, okay. Right here, you can... As you can totally not see my mouse, but, like, the middle of the figure, like, around their butt, kind of looks a little weird.
It looks like a big old diaper. Like they're wearing a big old Kamen Rider diaper. I mean, the rest of the figure looks good. And since these are model kits, they have to engineer them in a way that they can snap together. So, obviously, they're not going to be the same build as the SH Figuarts line. But they look decent. They have a decent amount of articulation. So, very cool.
I'm definitely going to pick them up.
Cool. So, we're going to hear how they were from Josh when he gets them. And so our last little morsel of news is something not Kamen Rider. It's the real action hero Mad Gallant from Juspion. And so Juspion was an 80s Toku that was used in the production of VR Troopers.
It was this one.
It's that guy. I really don't remember much from VR Troopers, so yeah, sure.
That show was... It was a show.
It was definitely a show.
I loved it. I loved it as a kid. But
me too, but it just didn't stick with me as much as Power Rangers did. Yeah, I remember there was a talking dog, right?
And you had Ryan Steele, who was the coolest.
Yeah, there was some.
And he would turn into Metalder.
Yeah, some fighting going on, and so, anyways, this guy is a villain from that show that turned into the other show.
Yeah, the show that neither of us have watched that turns into the other show that neither of us can remember.
Yeah. Except for the dog and Ryan Steele. So it's a cool design, though. Definitely 80s Toku vibe to it. I dig it. Except for the yellow things. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of those.
We see, I really like yellow stuff on black because I like Hokkaider.
Okay.
And so that's just kind of like, yay.
You know, to me, they remind me of those like balls they use in motion tracking when they're making video games and stuff. Yeah, like Gallant is going to make his own video game, but it's cool. It's a Real Action Heroes release, though, and I've heard a lot of horror stories about the Raw line, which is why I haven't picked any up yet. Unfortunately, if you're a Toku fan and you love those 1/6 scale figures, they're pretty much the only game in town.
Besides Project BM.
Which is Bandai and Medico. Who makes the Real Action line?
I think it's Medicom.
Medicom, yeah. So they still have a hand in it. So they're pretty much still the only game in town for the Toku 1/6 scale figures. I've heard a lot of stories about the materials just disintegrating, the articulation not being good, the figures falling apart, that kind of a thing. Which is what's kept me from buying these guys. Have you picked any up?
No, I haven't. I have since I also don't own any Hot Toys figures. I have not really bought any high-end 1/6 scale stuff.
I've been tempted. I mean, I know they had the 12 PM line. They had announced Akiba Ranger, and I was really looking forward to that. I love Bandai, and their attention to quality and detail is awesome. Yeah. So if they jumped on the Toku bandwagon, which may not be happening because who knows what's going on with 12 PM right now.
I'm pretty sure it tanked after C3PO.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they jumped on, the 12-inch line, I'd be totally over these figures, but I'm a little leery about picking up anything in the Real Action Heroes line. I know some people have had good experiences with the line, I should say. But I don't know if I want to gamble on a $200 figure.
Yeah.
And then just have it fall apart in my hands. So, that's pretty much all I have to say about this piece.
I hope it's good.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, so that's pretty much it for toy news, and let's talk about another little piece of news, a little trailer that some of you might have seen that popped up a couple hours ago on the internets and the YouTubes. Godzilla. So Legendary Pictures just released the official trailer for the Godzilla movie. It's a couple minutes long, a couple minutes of awesome. It's got about a minute of Bryan Cranston in it. He starts narrating it, and that was just sexy.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
he's just such a good actor. I think Legendary Films did a really good move by picking him to be in this movie. Even if he doesn't play such a huge role, he's got such cred now that he did Breaking Bad that I think people are going to go check it out just for him, you know?
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that he was lots of the villains in Power Rangers.
Yeah. Which most people don't remember or know.
Yeah, most people have no idea that he was actually the voice for a lot of the monsters.
Yeah, that's how he got his start. He was also in the Macross Plus movie. He was Isamu Dyson. So, I mean, he does a good job voicing over the trailer. I like how he's talking about the fact that there's a conspiracy to hide Godzilla. And he does it in such a way where he's outraged and he's kind of scared and angry at the same time. I mean, he's just such a good actor.
Yeah, I got some serious chills watching the trailer because obviously pretty much everyone here at CollectionDX, we have such affinity to Godzilla. So, like, hopefully this movie is done correctly and we don't just have a repeat of 1998.
The thing is, though, Legendary Films, the guys behind that, seem to have a knack for, you know, the genre, and they have an affinity for it also. So I don't think they're going to mess it up. I think they're going to do it right.
If this trailer is any indication, it looks phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Godzilla plus Bryan Cranston, I mean...
And Elizabeth Olsen is in there for like 2 seconds. It's always a good thing.
I would pay money, like lots of money, to see this movie now.
So would I.
Yeah, but we have to wait till May. So, it was a good trailer. They didn't really show too much. There was a part where they were going to show Godzilla's face, but you had some doors closing in, and it, you know, cuts off the face so you don't see anything. They're being very sneaky about, you know, showing Godzilla. Even at Toy Fair, there's several vendors that are going to be selling Godzilla toys when the movie comes out, and we were not allowed to see them, except for... And we're going to cut that out, right?
We can.
All right. So they're not allowed to show anything till I believe the middle of next month, because obviously they want to keep everything hush-hush. They don't want people knowing what it looks like. Although there's already been a couple leaks, I think, here and there of what the monster looks like, Godzilla. So, but other than that, good trailer. They're being very, very good with the information they're releasing, and I'm gonna go see it opening day.
Yep. That's going to be a midnight release movie for me.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so the first show we are going to talk about is Power Rangers Super Megaforce. This is I guess, a direct sequel to Power Rangers Megaforce. It takes place immediately after the Armada shows up at the end of the last episode of Megaforce. And basically what happened, the alien Armada shows up, they start destroying everything, and the Rangers are basically getting shot to pieces, and they're like, oh no, everything's dying, everything is bad, Robo Knight's gone, what are we gonna do? So, then Gosei is just like, hey, Deus Ex Machina, here's some new stuff. And they're like, great, this new stuff is awesome. And then they become the Super Megaforce Rangers.
So does that mean they didn't actually defeat the villains in the last show?
They did, kind of. But because the main villains were underlings for the villains in this show, that's the way they did it.
So technically the villains in Megaforce were working for the Zangetsu Empire, or whatever it's being called in Super Megaforce. I don't think they've given them a name, have they?
Yeah, so far they just call them the Armada.
Okay.
I think. And so now the Armada and Prince Vecker is here. They're going to just try to destroy the stuff, but the Power Rangers aren't going to let them.
So then the villains in Megaforce were like the advanced force for the new villains, which is kind of ironic because in ToQger, the villains are the advanced force for the ones that are later to come. So, yeah. So there's like an advanced force in Super Megaforce.
I'm not sure if they're going to go that route. They might.
Yeah.
Who knows?
If they do. So it was it was a fun episode. I watched a little bit of it with my nephew. He was into it. He's like, "Oh, Ranger keys, and there's a samurai." So it's definitely hitting with the target audience. They didn't explain why black goes to green. Gosei was going to explain, and then they get attacked conveniently.
Yeah, he was just like, "Oh, that's easy to explain." It's nope, guys, get out of here, fight.
Yeah, you gotta go. So there was that. It was cool. I mean, they did some transformations. They didn't do the Go Ranger transformation from the first episode.
Which could either be a good or a bad thing.
Yeah. The thing about that is, though, in the second episode, they do the Die Ranger transformation. And they're just like, here's some transformations of Rangers that have not appeared on Earth. So it's kind of weird that they would do that.
See, several days ago, they released like a clip of that scene where it's like, Rangers, have access to powers that have never been seen on Earth. And they're just like, wow, these new powers are great. I love these new powers. Yeah. And so became this huge internet joke of Speed Racer Flubber created a special promo for Power Rangers New Powers.
Oh, yeah.
They have powers that are new. And it is so funny. And I was just like, hopefully they have a better explanation than this. I'm sure that was just like a snippet of it. They're probably going to be like, oh, okay, it's from this specific planet. You can use their powers or something, kind of like the Equation Rangers.
Yeah.
The Alien Rangers from the Go-Go Alien Rangers miniseries.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the Rangers is studying all the old Rangers, so maybe that's going to come into play.
But they totally didn't say anything in this episode. It was straight up exactly what we had seen. New powers, and then no explanation whatsoever. Yeah.
So in the second episode, they also got the Delta Runner Megazord. It was kind of a lonely episode, though, I thought. Because we didn't have the Red Ranger or Doggy Kruger. Or Cruiser, I think, is what they called him in SPD, right?
I think it was still Kruger.
Was it Kruger? But anyways, they didn't have him in the show. Either of them. It was just the Red Ranger fighting off the villain that was trying to blow up the world using those nukes. So, it was kind of a missed opportunity, I thought.
Yeah, because the way ToQger did it, every time they got a special new Zord or power, it was always someone from a previous team saying, look, I'll give you our powers. You can use, our ultimate power now. And in this, it was just like, oh, by the way, you can use everyone's powers. Here's the new Zord.
Yeah. Well, they said it's once you master the power, once you're good enough, I guess, then you can unlock the Zords. So it's pretty obvious that the cameos are going to be different in this show. It's not going to be each one of the Rangers saying, here's my key, and, here's a new power. So, other than that, the show played out similar to the way it played in ToQger. And so, I guess we can jump now to the Japanese Toku shows. Alright, so now we're going to jump into another episode 1. This time, it's Ressha Sentai ToQger. And so this is the train-themed Super Sentai show that is just airing in Japan right now. And so the premise of the show, at least the first episode, it starts out with this dark train that's kidnapping some kids. And they're going to use the sorrow from the kids to build more rails for the Dark Empire, whatever it's called. I don't think have they given it a name yet?
Maybe? I can't remember.
Me neither. So let's just call it the Dark Empire for this episode.
I think it's something Empire.
Yeah.
Or Shadow Empire.
That sounds right. Yeah. So, of course, in usual fashion, the Sentai team shows up. They rescue the kids. The Red Ranger isn't the Red Ranger yet. He is just, some dude that happens to be sleeping on the train that is holding all those kidnapped kids. And so later he finds out that the other ToQger are his friends from when they were little kids. And so he gets picked to be the Red because he has imagination. So it's definitely a kiddie theme, the trains and then the whole imagination thing. But I like the way they're using the train motif. I think it's a little bit more extensive than the way Deno used it. It's got a lot of cool things in it. You have a conductor, obviously, with his little buddy ticket. I like how they explain how the enemies don't attack during the transformation. Is because the line shows up like a train, and you don't step on that line because you're going to get hit. Mm-hmm. So it solves that issue of a lot of times you have to suspend disbelief. It's like, why don't the enemies attack while they're transforming?
You
They're
know,
at
while they're posing, you know.
doing the roll call. I mean, seriously, those are good opportunities, people. So it's a great show. It also features another little train nod where they can switch trains and also switch powers and colors. So it's like when you go on a train, you can transfer onto another train. It's a cool little nod to that. And obviously, when they change colors, they change gear, and they can use the other Rangers' powers. And so that also explains why this year they're not being called by their color; they're being, named by their number. So you have Tokyo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a cool show. A good start to the series. A little silly, as you can see by the finishing move. So the finishing attack basically allows them to use their imagination and to punish the villain however they see fit. And in this episode, they made the kids cry, so they dumped all these crying statues on top of the villain. Another cool thing about the show, as we just saw, is at the end, they highlight different, trains from Japan. To us, it means nothing. To Japanese people, they probably go crazy over that. They're like, oh, that's the one I take to work or something. Like, that's so cool. And obviously in Japan, they love trains, and I don't see why this show would fail. I mean, it's got success written all over it.
Oh, yeah. It's silly. It's got trains.
Yeah.
It has trains.
That's all you have to say in Japan. It's got
Yeah.
trains. Sold. So, very good start to the show. We'll talk about episode 2 in the next show because the sub was just released recently.
Like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
As of this recording.
And we have a life. Somewhat of a life.
Well, Lewis has a life.
Yeah. So, good start. Very silly. It kind of reminded me of Magi Ranger and the silliness a little bit. I've only watched one episode of Magi Ranger, and it's got a similarity with the amount of silliness and the goofiness of the show. But we'll keep watching and keep talking about it. Unlike Magi Ranger, which I stopped watching.
One thing that I would love to talk about is how much I've loved this show so far. Just I was kind of already all in the second I saw like the designs and the robot and all that stuff. I'd already said, well, okay then, that's it. I'm gonna love this show. But actually seeing the first episode, I am just completely in love with it. I love the villain designs. The villain designs are spectacular.
And I like that each of them has the name based off the color black. They each have like black in a different language. Even like the little kid, the little baby villain. I was looking that up before we started the show. I think her name is like Greta.
Yeah.
And that's part from like Spanish Negrita, which is like, black again. So it could be taken a little racist if you think about it wrong. But no, it's neat. Even the little cannon fodder villains are pretty cool. They got their little hats that they always grab onto.
I love their designs. Their designs just make me super happy.
They're like crows and like I don't even know what, but anyways, they just look cool. So good first episode. Can't wait to see more.
Another thing that I really loved about this episode is when they were fighting, they all kind of showcased their imagination, and Tokyo Go-Go, which is
Number 5,
which is the Pink Ranger. She takes her claw thing and she makes all of the bad guys super teeny tiny, and so she just sort of sits in front of them and just like poking them and making them explode, and they're just like little sparks, and it is just I almost died laughing. It was so funny. I loved it.
Yeah, everybody's using full force, and she's just like, well, I'm just gonna sit here and take these guys out. Yeah, so very cool. Can't wait to see where their imagination leads them in episodes to come.
Yep. All right, so the next thing we are going to talk about is episode 18 of Kamen Rider Gaim.
That's a good
I love that
picture to start
image. I love that image so much. Basically, short and sweet to the point plot of this episode. All of the beat writers have decided to try and come together to create a you know, giant group dance session that they're trying to put on a performance with all the teams. And obviously, since no one is really friendly with any other team, they all just say no, they're not going to do it. Because Team Baron is, of course, leading the charge against all of this stuff. And they don't want to do it without Team Baron. And meanwhile, Kamen Rider Baron leaves Team Baron because he's just like, you guys want to dance? I don't care. I don't care about dancing. And then he leaves. And so, long story short, Kamen Rider Bravo starts picking a fight with everyone, starts leading the charge for the citizens against the Beat Riders because everyone believes that it's the Beat Riders' fault, why the Invests are attacking, even though the Invests that they use are actually, different and more controlled. But the majority of the people in the city don't see that, so they're frightened. Anyone who is a part of these dance teams, they are terrified of. So they tried to, turn public opinion into their favor, and it fails miserably because of Bravo. And so then there's fights.
And it ends pretty funny. I mean, you get to see Kamen Rider Bravo getting his butt kicked by Kamen Rider Gaim. Now that Gaim's overpowered him with the Raiment, the Lemon Raiment. Mm-hmm. But there's some funny moments with Bravo, as we see here.
Oh, yeah. Every episode with Bravo is fantastic.
Yeah. I have a feeling he's just going to become now that he's not a powerful character, he's just going to be the comedic character, the relief character. So, and I have no issues with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So, while there wasn't a whole lot of plot development in this episode, it was mostly just a one-off thing with the Beat Riders. But we did have the introduction of Armored Rider Knuckle, which is the new leader of Team Baron after Baron left.
So, a good episode, funny, not a lot of plot development, as we've said, but not bad. I mean, they've been doing such a bang-up job in the past episodes that they can take it easy for an episode.
Yeah, it's impossible to have super plot development every single episode like they've basically been doing since the show started. So, having a couple of filler episodes is no problem at all.
Especially when the show runs, all year round. Mm-hmm. This isn't a short show like Breaking Bad, where they can manage to make every single episode good, short, sweet, and developing the story in each one of the episodes. They gotta have some funny episodes, and I wouldn't call it a filler episode, because something did happen. We were introduced to the new Armored Rider. So, can't wait to see what happens next.
Alright, so guys, the next thing we are going to talk about is our recommendation for this week. This is actually something that I haven't seen.
For shame. So, as you guys can see, I wrote this up for TokuDX, which is why there's a watermark on each of the pictures. But I figure we talk about this because this is a Toku movie. And the definition of Toku is it's a sci-fi movie. And this is totally sci-fi. So, this is Gantz. It's the live-action adaptation of the manga by the same name. There was also an anime series, I think, that came out in 2004, I want to say. So the premise of the movie starts out with a train. Basically, two friends are waiting for a train to arrive at a subway station, and they get hit by said train, and they die. And so then they find themselves in that apartment building that we just saw with all these strangers and this big black orb. And so they find out that they have to basically engage these aliens and kill them in order to score points. And once they score points, there's this big menu that the big black orb shows them, and they can pick, different prizes. Obviously not like toys and stuff. It's like coming back to life or bringing somebody else back to life, or being let from this servitude to the black orb. And so in order to defeat the aliens, they're giving these black suits, and the black suits allow them to fly. They give them, jump higher, I should say, not really fly. and they also are stronger, and they get these guns that shoot, but they have a delayed impact. They'll hit the target and then just completely explode, which is really cool when you see it in the movie. And so the movie features 3 different aliens. And what I like about the movie is it progresses. In the first encounter with the aliens, they're just kind of learning what's going on. Some of the people in that room are, veterans of this game that they don't quite yet understand. And so they know what's going on, but basically they have to kill the aliens, score the points, and keep going. During the day, they get to go back to their normal lives. Even though they died, somehow this black orb brought them back to life. And now, at nights, they have to go back and fight the aliens. So it's kind of like Men in Black when you think about it. These young kids get second life fighting aliens, but it's pretty bloody. It's really good. It's got this actress whose name I don't remember as that hot chick in the movie. She was also in the Ranma live action special, if you've seen that. She wasn't as hot in that one, but she's way hotter in this one. She's like the love interest of the main character. She's got like a sad backstory, so you find out a lot more about her during the day scenes when they're living their normal lives out. It's a really good movie, though. I liked it, really enjoyed it. I had a buddy that I went to high school with. He always recommended Gantz to me. He wasn't big into anime, but this is one of the ones that he actually watched, was Gantz. I never got around to it, and now that I saw the live-action movie, I kind of wish I had. And maybe I'll get around to it eventually. But it's a neat movie. It's got some cool aliens. We saw that alien a couple screens back. He had like the Where's Waldo shirt. He's this crazy android with like this laser beam that just totally demolishes anything that it hits. And later on, we find out that's not his only power. So I like the fact that it's a very real movie. The danger of dying again is very real for these people. And they all want to come back to life and lead their normal lives. So it's definitely different. There is a sequel. I have yet to watch that yet, though. But I would definitely recommend this movie. It's a good like hour and a half, sit down and watch action movie. It's like a darker version of Men in Black, if I had to explain it to somebody. It's cool. It's got some good CG. Luckily, the CG is done at night, which helps. If you remember in Pacific Rim, that's part of the reason why they did the fights at night, is since they didn't have such a big budget. The CG, you can get away with doing CG on a cheaper scale than you could when it's in daylight, and you can see how the light reflects off the monsters and all that stuff. So it's a cool movie. J-Man's going to check it out now.
Yes, I am.
Definitely worth checking out. All right, so that is it for this show, the very first official numbered show of the PowerToku Show DX. This has been a long day of taping.
So long.
Yeah, but you guys won't see that. You guys are just going to see the edited version of this show. Thanks for joining us. This is Luis, also known as SentaiSeiya. You can find me on Twitter at SentaiSeiya, on CollectionDX, talking toys, and J-Man.
Well, I'm Josh Reed. You can find me on Twitter at JManDX, and on CollectionDX, talking about basically the same stuff that we've been talking about on this show.
Mm-hmm. So, thanks for joining us. And as always, don't forget, you can send us feedback at our email address, which is powertoku@collectiondx.com. Tell us how we're doing. We can always improve with your suggestions. We want to make this the show that you like to watch and come and check out every week and, discuss Toku topics.